What intrigued me in your speech was the fact that you highlighted the important issues of modernization and modernization and the contradictions of modernization is in fact something which strikes me every day when I go out of my house in Istanbul, because Istanbul is such a wonderful place to see these contradictions and to see managers and financial officers running down on Main Street along with tea boys
yes.
carrying tea to these very managers or even shopkeepers anywhere. Or if you see the gleaming high-rises of some parts of Istanbul, and then not far from there, some 500 to 700 meters down, you go into the valley, and there you see coal-heated huts. Or you see the shopping malls, and on the other hand, the very traditional bazaars. So sometimes you have the impression in Istanbul that you have like two ages living next to each other at the same time. So my first question to you would be, what does modernization mean in Turkey today? What is it about?
Well, thank you, Michael. First of all, you mentioned about your experiences in Istanbul. Istanbul is a seriously huge metropole. So all these diversity that you see, all these differences that you see live together. And it is like in any other big metropolitan city that in the world. But when it comes to defining modernization, what do we all understand about modernization? I personally don't understand about modernization only the education, only literacy rates. Not only that. I think if you go to the other cities other than Istanbul, you will also feel a serious progress, a serious change in those cities. For example, a city like Eskişehir, a city like Adana, where my family originates and started from, or a city like Kayseri, or even Mardin. What I see in those cities, and that's my definition of modernization, is the fact that these cities are progressing, and in these cities there is universities, there are students, there are, in some of them, private universities also, not only public universities. In these cities, like you mentioned, I know because I'm also in business and we have serious retail business. In these cities, you see big shopping malls. In most of these cities that I mentioned to you, there are festivals. For example, my foundation is sponsoring an international theater festival in Adana since 20 years. It is on the streets of Adana for a whole month, and incredible attendance. My foundation has just founded, last 5 years ago, we founded a museum. We have a museum in Istanbul, but I'm mentioning we founded a museum in Mardin. I was just there in Mardin. I advise all of you to go. Incredible boutique hotels in Mardin.
And a beautiful city.
Beautiful city. The metropole has said to me, your museum has been the starting point of a change. It is in that city, it's that museum. But in another city, another museum, another cultural activity. So what we talk about modernization? Modernization is about progress, is about culture, is about trade, is about consumption, we must admit, is part of it. And so it's about education. So in different cities in Turkey, it is a different momentum. And what you have rightly said in your speech and now, also the participation of the civil society, the engagement of the civil society for progress, for modernization, which is, I think it is something to be seen and which is something to be lived. And that is why I agree and I support thoroughly about this work that Mercator Foundation and Istanbul Policy Center will make, because we need to understand each other more. We need to see the progress in Turkey, then define what we mean by modernization of Turkey.
You spoke about the provinces, and I think that's very important, because modernization in fact means that the future is not just coming to the metropolis and the center of a country, but it's coming to smaller towns.
Exactly.
And that is, at the same time, that is a development which is also true for society in itself, because we had previously people who had a strong voice, and we heard again and again the same people and lots of people who were the silent majority. And this is something I believe is about to change in Turkey, because there are more and more very self-confident citizens. And but here's the question: what can be the role of foundations there to give these confident citizens, to give them a voice and to make them participate more in society?
Yes, the culture of foundation, and if we define the foundations as the members of the civil society, as the institutions of the civil society, which I define them like that, the Turkey has a culture for that, heritage for that. The Ottomans was well known for foundations. We even have jokes about, Ottomans having even, in those years, 18th centuries, we're talking about the bird savers or bird protecting foundations and so on. So it did exist, even the protection of the environment in those years. So my country has the heritage of that. Then comes of course, the new Turkey, the Republic. It is good. I always have to mention that thanks to the reforms of the Atatürk, that I'm here today as a Turkish woman, but through that process, and then of course, 80s, beginning of 80s, I always believe that it's the whole attitude to life is important. And 80s is the Turkish free market economy, opening up to the world. All these have started. And it is not by coincidence that in 80s it also started private universities, more civil, civil work, like TÜSİAD, for example, has been founded in those years, Turkish Businessmen Association. So the interest groups have started being engaged and forming social, and I have to come back and say, of course, the reforms on the way to EU has also bring a new momentum to the whole civil society in Turkey. And the reforms that on the way to EU also has encouraged And now, as you said, we are doing in our foundation a joint work. 5 years now we've been working together with UN and Ministry of Interiors of Turkey and my foundation, Sabanci Foundation, in 6 cities, for example, in Turkey, to improve the girls' and women's rights. So when I say that, when we started 5 years ago, there were some cities, there were only 1, maybe 2 women civil society or women organizations. Now in every city, there is more than 12. So they are engaged, the women are there, they are after their rights. So what to make even more? Yes, we have to give them more voice. Now there is one place that is lacking, of course, is in the politics. We need more women. We're never satisfied with the level of that in the political life. We need more women. But in the civil society, there is a serious engagement, participation, and it can only get better with the, as I said, I'm also very happy with the last years and the Mercator IPC relationship will be one of the examples, that also we see a lot of European foundations being engaged in Turkey, doing joint work. That will also, I think, will increase. But it is a continuous effort.